Political assassination occupies a strange place in American memory. The violence is public, but the explanation often narrows quickly. One disturbed individual, one weapon, one closed case. Historian and journalist Jeremy Kuzmarov asks whether that familiar pattern can obscure political interests operating behind the crime, and whether dismissing every challenge as a conspiracy theory prevents legitimate questions from being examined. In a July 2026 essay for Dissident Voice, Kuzmarov begins with Abraham Lincoln. The established history is clear on the central act. John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln at Ford's Theater in April 1865. Booth did not act in complete isolation. Other conspirators were prosecuted for participating in a plan that had also contemplated attacks on senior members of Lincoln's administration. Kuzmarov argues that the network was wider still, extending into political and commercial circles rarely emphasized in popular accounts. That claim goes beyond the conventional history. But it establishes the question that drives his essay. When an assassin is portrayed primarily as a deranged outsider, what political relationships disappear from view? The distinction is essential. A documented conspiracy is not proof of every later theory. But neither does the word conspiracy automatically make a claim irrational. It describes coordinated action, and coordination must be established through records, witnesses, physical evidence, and motive. Kuzmarov then turns to President John F. Kennedy. The Warren Commission concluded in 1964 that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. That remains the official finding. Kuzmarov rejects it. He points to disputed interpretations of ballistic evidence, alleged intelligence connections, and questions about how the commission conducted its work. His focus is not only the evidence, but the frame placed around it. Alan Dulles, the former CIA director who served on the commission, circulated Robert Donovan's book, The Assassins. Donovan contrasted political murder abroad with an American pattern supposedly driven by isolated social outcasts. For Kuzmarov, this offered a reassuring national story. Assassination might be an instrument of power elsewhere, but in the United States, it was merely individual pathology. Kuzmarov believes that story protected the idea of American exceptionalism. His article advances much more contentious allegations about Oswald, Lyndon Johnson, intelligence agencies, and Texas oil interests. These remain disputed interpretations, not established findings. Their inclusion in his wider argument shows the scale of what he believes official history has excluded. It does not turn allegation into verdict. The 1935 death of Louisiana Senator Huey Long provides another case study. Long built enormous political power through public works and wealth redistribution programs while governing through an increasingly authoritarian machine. He made fierce enemies and was preparing for a possible national challenge to Franklin Roosevelt. The accepted account identifies physician Carl Weiss as Long's assassin. Kuzmarov emphasizes disputed forensic details, the calibers of recovered weapons, the gun attributed to Weiss, and the conduct of Long's armed bodyguards. He argues that these details support an organized political killing. The case remains contested, but it illustrates his method, placing physical evidence beside the interests surrounding the victim. Two later deaths bring the story into the national security era. CIA scientist Frank Olson died after falling from a New York hotel window in 1953, days after the agency secretly dosed him with LSD. The U.S. government later acknowledged the drugging and compensated his family. Whether Olson jumped or was killed remains disputed, particularly because he had expressed deep concern about secret agency programs. Journalist Danny Casolaro was found dead in a West Virginia hotel in 1991 while investigating a network he called the Octopus, a web of intelligence, software, finance, and organized crime. Authorities ruled his death a suicide. His family and independent investigators questioned that conclusion, pointing to his research, his state of mind, and disputed physical evidence. Across these cases, Kuzmarov identifies a recurring sequence. A lone culprit is named and pathologized. Evidence that does not fit is marginalized. Later discrepancies are explained as incompetence rather than coordination. Public records remain sealed, sometimes in the name of national security, and serious inquiry becomes harder when credible questions are grouped together with internet fantasies that require no evidence at all. That last point is important. Kuzmarov is not arguing that every alternative theory is true. He is arguing that absurd theories can become useful distractions, allowing institutions to dismiss all skepticism at once. His Clarity Press book, Political Assassinations in America, The Intricate Nexus of Deep State Crimes, develops this thesis across a much larger historical archive. It connects assassinations, suspicious deaths, and compromise investigations to struggles over wealth, war, intelligence power, and political change. Readers may dispute individual conclusions. The book's larger challenge is to examine how official narratives become durable and whose interests that durability serves. It raises a broader democratic question. How should citizens respond when official certainty arrives before the evidence is fully public? The responsible answer is neither blind trust nor limitless speculation. It is disciplined skepticism, distinguish fact from allegation, test competing explanations, demand access to records, and remain willing to revise a conclusion when stronger evidence appears. Because after an assassination, the struggle is not only over what happened, it is also over who gets to write the history.